Welcome to the Explainer. Behind every single cryptocurrency, there's this powerful economic engine, an invisible force that keeps the entire network secure, honest, and actually running. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on exactly what that is, the block reward.
Let's think about this for a second. You've got this global network of computers, right? Run by thousands of people who don't know each other. How on earth do you make them all play by the same rules? How do they all agree on a single shared history of every transaction without a boss or a bank or some government telling them what to do? This is the big fundamental problem for any decentralized system.
Yeah, and that challenge, we call it the decentralized dilemma. It's really the core problem that blockchain technology was so brilliantly designed to crack.
Really think about it. If there's no central bank, who's there to say a transaction is legit? What's stopping me from just spending the same digital coin over and over again? And how do you get everyone all over the world to agree on one single version of the truth, one ledger? And maybe the biggest question of all, who's footing the bill for the electricity and the crazy powerful computers needed to keep this whole thing from falling apart?
Well, the answer to all of those questions is this really clever, built-in economic incentive. It's an absolutely ingenious solution that, well, it just makes the whole system work.
So what is a block reward? Put simply, it's the paycheck for the people who volunteer their resources to keep the network secure. Every time a new block of transactions gets confirmed and added to the chain, whoever did the work gets paid. It's literally the reward for doing the network's most critical job.
Okay, so this reward isn't just one thing. It's actually made up of two different pieces. The first part is something called the block subsidy. These are brand new coins basically created out of thin air every time a new block is made. And the second part? That's all the transaction fees that you and I pay to get our transactions processed and included in that block.
Right, so how do you actually get this reward? Well, it turns out there are two main ways to do it. Two completely different philosophies on who gets to add the next block and walk away with that prize. So you've got these two big ideas, right? On one side, you have proof of work. Here, security is all about raw power. It's about spending energy. Miners use these massive computer setups to race each other to solve a puzzle. Then, on the other side, you have proof of stake. Here, security comes from money, from capital. Validators lock up their own crypto as collateral. It's way less about who has the biggest computer and more about who has the most economic skin in the game.
Let's dig into proof of work. Using Bitcoin as the classic example, it's basically a non-stop global race. Miners are constantly grabbing pending transactions, bundling them up, and then they start guessing. They're trying to find this one special number. It's called a nonce. You can think of it like trying to guess a single winning lottery number out of trillions, just pure brute force guesswork. The very first miner to find that magic number gets to show their block to everyone else, and if it checks out, boom, they get the reward. Now, proof of stake, it's a totally different ballgame. Validators aren't racing with their computers. Instead, they're kind of waiting in a lottery to get picked. The more coins they've staked or locked up, the better their chances. If they get chosen and do their job right, they earn a reward. But, and this is the really clever part, if they try to cheat the system, the network can automatically take and destroy a chunk of their staked coins. That's called slashing. It's a huge financial penalty that keeps everyone honest. And what's cool is, even if you don't have a ton of coins, you can delegate your stake to a big validator and still earn a piece of the rewards. It really opens up the system to more people.
But this whole reward system, it's about way more than just keeping the network secure. The block reward is actually this incredibly powerful tool for controlling the entire economy of a cryptocurrency. You can think of it as its own form of digital monetary policy.
Yeah, that's right. By setting the rules for how fast new coins are made, the block reward is basically acting like a central bank's printing press. The difference is, it's all controlled by code. The protocol itself sets the inflation rate and the total supply of the currency, all automatically, with no person or committee making decisions.
Just look at Bitcoin. Right now, about every 10 minutes, some lucky miner out there successfully adds a block and gets rewarded with 3.125 brand new Bitcoin, on top of all the transaction fees. That number right there, that's the current issuance rate for the biggest cryptocurrency in the world.
But here's the thing. That number is designed to shrink. It's not permanent. Baked right into Bitcoin's code is this event called the halving. And like clockwork, roughly every 4 years, that block subsidy gets chopped in half. It started at 50 BTC per block, then in 2012 it dropped to 25, then 12.5, and so on, just like you see here. It's a programmed event that automatically slows down the creation of new Bitcoin as time goes on.
And this programmed scarcity, it's a central pillar of Bitcoin's whole economic model. As our source material points out, when you slow down the supply of something new entering the system, especially a system with a fixed total supply, you create a deflationary force. It's just basic economics, right? If demand keeps growing while the new supply is shrinking, that tends to put upward pressure on the price.
So, this predictable shrinking of the reward leads us to a really fascinating and frankly a pretty critical long-term question about the whole design and its future.
Think about it. For something like Bitcoin, there's a hard limit. Only 21 million will ever exist. So eventually that block subsidy, the new coins, it's going to shrink all the way down to zero. So what happens then? When there are no more new coins being minted, what's the incentive for miners to keep their machines running and keep spending all that money on electricity to secure the network?
Well, the system was actually designed with this in mind. The long-term plan is for the network to transition away from being propped up by new coins and to become totally self-sufficient, funded only by transaction fees. The hope, the theory, is that by the time we get to the year 2140, when that last little piece of a Bitcoin is mined, the network will be so widely used that the fees alone will be more than enough incentive to keep miners working. Which leaves us with the ultimate multi-trillion-dollar question. Will they be?